Hello guys, and welcome back to Holy Hoopers. Well, back if you've been here before, but today we're going to be talking about the Honestly Modest series, and today is part 2, and I'm calling it Figurative Clothing. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you have not seen part 1, which I did in August, so this is ridiculously sad, but yeah, so let's do it. Our first reference in the Bible is Proverbs 31:25, and it says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future." So my note for this is we get so caught up in our anxiety and worrying about what people think about us that we forget to clothe ourselves in righteousness and trust God to give us what we need. We don't need everyone's approval. We need God's approval. And when I say that, I don't mean, oh yeah, you have to listen to God and not your parents, because listening to God includes listening to your parents. They go hand in hand most of the time. And laughing without fear of the future is not something we do easily, but God says that doing so is like matching your life up to the qualities of a God-fearing woman, which is incredibly important. So, the next one is Proverbs 31:30, which is right there, so it says, "Charm is deceptive, and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised." So, when we act like we're just easy girls who don't have any standards, first of all, you're most likely not going to get a man who has godly ideals. We need to strive not to give into the temptation of having someone to lean on, quote unquote, and lean on God and trust Him to give us a wonderful, godly husband. The next reference is Genesis 3:7, and it says, "At that moment their eyes were opened, and they suddenly felt shame at their nakedness. So they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves." So let's just dive right on into that. I'm not saying we should be horrified by our bodies, but we need to remember that now that we have the knowledge of good and evil, we need to remember that God wants us to be covered. And that's all I have on that verse. Our next reference is 1 Peter 5:5, and it says, "In the same way, you younger men must accept the authority of the elders, and all of you must serve each other in humility, for God opposes the proud, but favors the humble." Again, we have to submit to our authority, and even I have trouble with that, but it's biblical. So we need to not worry so much about our actual clothes, because when we focus on that, the humility is gone. Like when we walk into school or church and we're looking on fleek and we are just very high on ourselves, there is no humility. And we have to remember that whatever we have been given has been given to us by God. Clothe yourself in humility, and like a Proverbs 31:25 woman, and like in Proverbs 31:25, a woman who is clothed in dignity will be greatly praised. So our next reference is 1 Timothy 4:8, and it says, "And now the prize awaits me, the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on the day of his return. And the prize is not just for me, but for all who eagerly look forward to his appearing." I think this verse explains itself very well. We need to remember to give time to God each and every day. If we have time for self-improvement, we have time for spiritual improvement. So, yeah, I know it's hard, and doing devotionals every single day is something that it's a big commitment. It might only take a few minutes, maybe even 20 minutes a day, but it's just something that as Christians, a lot of us, or teenagers especially, don't really set time aside for God, and that's incredibly important, and I have to remember that as well. So Proverbs 11:22 says, "A beautiful woman who lacks discretion is like a gold ring in a pig's snout." Okay, let's just look the word discretion up, shall we? As you can see, I'm going with a biblical definition of discretion. And I'm going to go with the one that is right after 2, and it says, the quality of having or showing discernment or good judgment. We need to have good judgment, or discretion, as they say, and remain pure in heart and mind. And that is definitely something that is, I don't know, discretion is a very kind of a heavy topic, like almost like it could have an entire video of its own, so we'll talk about that. Next, we're going to be reading 1 Peter 3:3-6, and it says, don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourselves instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They trusted God and accepted the authority of their husbands. For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband Abraham and called him her master. You are her daughters when you do what is right without fear of what your husbands may do. So, I'm just going to dive right into this. I think the feminist movement that says men are lower than women and women power is just degrading for men, and women need to respect men a lot more than they do. I'm not saying we should bow down and cater to their every needs, because that would not turn out well. But respecting your husbands and your father is very important. So, modesty is closely connected to self-worth, and when it comes to, this is just another note that I'm going to be talking about. Modesty is closely connected to self-worth, and if you have no modesty, you don't think that you're worth as much as you are. Girls are absolutely priceless. Men are priceless. But make sure that as women, you treasure yourself. I'm not saying you need to go out and say, love yourself, because all of us have a certain amount of love for ourselves. But I think that when it comes to just the way we dress, the way we act, just everything really has a big part of our self-worth, in a word. So just respect yourself enough to have an amount of modesty. I mean, honesty is good too, but so, and this is my last note, and I know it's kind of off topic, but if you struggle with being super duper boy crazy or man crazy, I would say you should write down all the traits you want in a husband and pray over those daily. And you can write to your future husband if you want. God will put somebody in your life if it's meant to be. So I want to encourage you to be at peace with that, and because God always provides us with what we really need. Sometimes the things we want, we feel are the things we need, but God knows best, and we just have to trust Him. This video is coming to an abrupt halt, but I will be posting a part 3 and a part 4. But with the way that I've been posting, they'll probably come 4 months apart, so yeah. No, not really. I'll be better about posting videos. Thank you so much for watching this. Please subscribe and like my channel. Turn on post notifications so that you know when I've posted something. And comment down below what you would like to have me do a biblical chat about, or even a hula hoop tutorial, anything within reason. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. God bless.